Deep in the Caribbean, a Soviet submarine is dying by inches. The air is thick enough to choke on. And three men are arguing about whether to fire a nuclear torpedo.
Two of them have already voted yes. Soviet protocol says 2 votes is enough. One man, sweating in a steel tube 600 feet down, is the only thing standing between this moment and a war that ends everything. His name was Vasiliarkhipov, and almost nobody had heard of him until the world found out, decades later, exactly how close we came. Stay to the end, because the reason he said no wasn't in any manual. By late October 1962, the United States and the Soviet Union were closer to nuclear war than at any point before or since. American spy planes had photographed Soviet missile sites under construction in Cuba, 90 miles from Florida. President Kennedy ordered a naval blockade. Moscow refused to back down. Underneath that standoff, hidden from both governments' full control, were 4 Soviet Foxtrot-class submarines, each one carrying a secret weapon, a 15-kiloton nuclear torpedo, roughly the size of the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. One of those submarines was B-59. For days it had been running submerged and silent, hiding from the American ships, hunting it on the surface. Submerged this long, it had lost radio contact with Moscow entirely. Its crew had no idea whether the Cold War outside had already turned hot. Conditions inside were closer to a slow execution than a patrol. The air conditioning had failed. Temperatures in some compartments passed 45 degrees Celsius. Carbon dioxide was building in the air. Sailors were fainting at their stations, and the batteries were running out of charge.
On October 27th, American destroyers found B-59 and began dropping practice depth charges to force it to the surface. Small explosives meant as a signal, not an attack. But inside the submarine, no one could tell the difference. To the crew, it sounded exactly like the opening of a war.
Captain Valentin Savitsky, exhausted and cut off from any word from home, became convinced the war had already started above them. He gave the order to arm a nuclear torpedo and prepare to fire on the American fleet.
On the other 3 submarines in that flotilla, launching required agreement between just the captain and the political officer. 2 signatures, and the torpedo flies. But B-59 was carrying the flotilla's chief of staff on board, and that changed the rule. On this boat, and this boat alone, all 3 senior officers had to agree. Savitsky voted to fire. The political officer, Ivan Maslenikov, voted to fire. Both men believed the war was already underway and that hesitating would only get their own ship destroyed for nothing. That left one vote. It belonged to Vasily Arkhipov. Arkhipov was not a nervous man. A year earlier, he had served on the submarine K-19 during a reactor meltdown, staying aboard to help contain radiation that would later kill several of the crew. He understood, better than almost anyone alive, exactly what a nuclear failure looked like up close. That experience did not make him trigger happy. It made him doubt the certainty in the room. Depth charges built to signal, not destroy, did not sound to him like the opening of a war. He argued that the boat should surface and try to make contact before anyone did anything that could not be undone. For what witnesses later described as a tense, furious argument in a sweltering steel room, Arkhipov refused to give his consent. Without his vote, Soviet protocol was clear. The torpedo would not be armed. Savitsky, overruled, gave the order to surface instead. B-59 broke the surface into a ring of American warships with searchlights and guns trained on it. For a few unbearable minutes, nobody on either side knew what would happen next. Then the submarine turned north toward home, and the moment simply ended. For nearly 40 years, almost nobody outside a small circle in Moscow knew this vote had ever happened. The file stayed classified until 2002,
when historians finally pieced together how close the fleet had come to launching a nuclear weapon during the tensest week of the Cold War. One historian who studied the declassified files later said plainly that a man called Vasiliarkhipov saved the world. He never called himself a hero. He said he was simply following the rules and doing the arithmetic on what firing that torpedo would actually cost. Some of history's biggest turning points were never a battle or a speech. Sometimes it was one exhausted man in a steel tube, refusing to be certain. Subscribe for more true stories the history books buried.